Quiet, Jamal.
And this is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. And today I have Tito M. Bradley on my channel today. Welcome, Tito. How you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
Fine. Okay, tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I am a law enforcement officer. I was a correction officer for 13 years for the city of Cleveland. They closed the jail, and now I'm a police officer for the utilities department. I am self-published author. I've self-published 4 books in 4 different genres, and I'm currently working on a 5th book, which will include 4 genres. It's going to be an anthology called The Vault. So I'm going to get 4 books in one next year.
Oh, okay. And
Right.
what is your genre?
I do everything. I have a suspense thriller. My latest book, Blue Euphoria, see it on the wall right behind me. It is the actual book cover. That's an erotic novel. I have a self-help book called We Got Issues, a conversation about Black love and relationships. And I have urban fiction, so I'll go around the board.
Okay, you want to talk about your book you have right there?
Well, Blue Euphoria is an erotic novel. It was actually a lot of work, I had to do a lot of research because some of the stuff I wasn't really familiar with. So I had to really interview a lot of people to get some insight on the thought process of behind the sexuality, not just the act. And I think that's what separates Blue Euphoria from a lot of other erotic books is just the act. But I go into the thought process, how people feel, think, and interact between each other.
Oh, wow.
Storyline, yeah, we get deep.
Okay. When did you first realize you wanted to be an author?
Well, actually, when I first started, it all started from a card game. Well, my cousins and I, we were playing cards, and everybody was blaming each other for their relationship issues. And so I said, in the middle of the card game, I'm gonna write a book about this because everybody was blaming everybody. And of course, everybody looked at me and was like, "Yeah, whatever, whatever." Of course, I've never wrote a book or anything, so I started writing a book right then. And came up with We Got Issues, conversation about Black love and relationships from a standpoint of not blaming anyone,
Mm-hmm.
but looking at everybody's viewpoint for resolution. So that was my first book.
Okay. What do you do when you're not writing?
Work, remodel, train dogs, clean. I'm a regular individual, you know. So right now I'm remodeling my bathroom. I'm putting a bathroom on my 3rd floor. I'm a regular Joe, you know, married. So we travel, regular stuff like everybody else. Cut the
Oh.
grass.
Where did your love of books, reading, and writing come from?
Actually, I caught the bug once I wrote my first book, but some years ago I stumbled upon the Donald Goines series, and in the late '90s, I think it was who was hot then? Terry Woods with Black Rain and Dutch. I think that was popular back then. So those kind of got my attention. Um, but I really am into like books like 48 Laws of Power, um, Outwitting the Devil. Those are the real books, mastery, the books that I like to read, psychology, you know, mental books. Believe it or not, I'm really not into novels or reading them. You know,
Okay.
I don't read a lot of them. You know, when I'm reading is really to get information to learn stuff. So I'm weird that way.
What's the best way to market your books?
For me, it's been Facebook has been phenomenal because you can reach out and touch so many people. And I do a lot of expos for those. And if you can join my fan page, it's Author Tito and Bradley fan page. I'll send you the link once this is over. I do every expo that comes through Cleveland. I went to Atlanta for the Atlanta Kickback. I did something in Cincinnati uh, with Detroit Hood Books. Met with some other groups, but the personal appearance, speaking engagements, when anybody calls and say, "Hey, can you?" I'm on my way. It's really I like to do the face-to-face thing too, as much as possible whenever I can. Even like this popped up. You want to, yeah. You know, I'm really actually thrilled to do this because I've never done any interview like this via the telephone. It's already usually just audio, but to actually be able to sit and talk to you face to face and for other people to be able to see it is real cool.
Okay. How do you select your characters?
You know what? I'm sick. My mind, they just pop up once. That's all it is. My wife say all the time, something's wrong with you. These people just jump in my head, and I just scribble them down. Once the idea starts rolling in my mind, then my imagination just takes off, and I just go with it. You know, I can't even explain it. I really want to say there's a process, but it's really not. I just
Okay.
and I just start adding characters, and this will be cool, that'll be cool. And sometimes, by the end of the book, some characters didn't make it, or I took them out, decided, this person is going to be this way or that way. It could be anything. So the final product, we both gonna be surprised because sometimes it it doesn't end the way I initially thought it would go.
Mm-hmm. Where do you get your ideas from?
Actually, my first book I told you came from the card game. My second book, Bait and Switch, which is an urban fiction. It's about a hustler getting out of the street life. Very good. That book came from, I read a friend of mine who I actually went to high school with. Her name is Janine Hale. She wrote a book called Possessions, and it was based in Cleveland. And when I read it, I was like mesmerized because up until that point, I had never read urban fiction
Mm-hmm.
about my own city. It was always, New York or California, somewhere else. So the
Mm-hmm.
lingo, the stores, and all that type of stuff, I couldn't really relate to. But Possessions, I did, and I said, "Oh, I want to write one of those. I want to write an urban fiction book," and that was the challenge to do it. So I got my own storyline together, and since then, every story has been based in Cleveland.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So once you open my book, you're going to take a dive into Cleveland. You're going to be in the neighborhoods, the restaurants, how we talk, because every area has their own slang, their own,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
streets that everybody know, the radio stations that everybody listen to. Like when you go to New York, they have a certain way. You go down south, they have a certain way. Talking, you go out, to California, it's a whole different, vibe of
Mm-hmm.
how to converse. And when you start reading something from California, immediately you don't even have to know who, but the lingo tells you
Yes.
immediately, okay, this is where I am. Yo, what's up, God? Okay, we in New York. What's up, son? That's automatically New York. What's up, Water? What's up, homie? Y'all come from down there? Okay, now we down south somewhere.
Okay.
What's up, cuz? What's up, blood? Okay, now we out west somewhere. Generally, you know what I mean? By the
Mm-hmm.
lingo. So I had to get Cleveland on the map with that. But the way we talk and what we eat in the restaurants we go to and how we move around here.
Okay. What makes a good story?
To me, a good story is what I try to do is touch every emotion. And even though I write all genres, for me, I have to make you sad. I want you upset. I want you mad. I want you happy. I want you excited. I want you nervous. I want you scared. I want you to laugh. Oh, that's crazy. I want you to relate to the characters as real people. And I think, I've really done a great job, not because I think I'm so great, but when people come to me or I get an inbox or email and people are upset with characters, I got them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a book club meeting, and a full-fledged argument broke out about the book, about the characters, and I'm sitting there looking back and forth like they know this ain't real, right? Like I couldn't believe it. Like, no, that ain't how it was. She should have did this, I'm looking like at a tennis match, back and forth, like, wow. Like this
Mm-hmm.
was a figment of my imagination. So, but it really captured them
Mm-hmm.
to the point that these people were real. You know what I mean? The situation
Yes.
were real. So I want to bring the realness out, not just
Mm-hmm.
tell a story just for the sake of me telling a story. I want to capture your emotions and remove you from your reality. That's my
Yes.
goal. Is when you pick up my book, whatever's going on at school, relationship, the kids, your finances is gone. I want to capture it and hold on to your whole psyche to the point where you can't wait to get back to the book.
Okay. Do you read your reviews, and how do you deal with bad ones and good ones?
I do read my reviews, and I actually had recently I had someone give me a good review, and I asked them, "What do you think would have made it better?" And then they told me some stuff that wasn't in the initial review, which really helped me to see a different viewpoint. Well, and I said it would have been better if you did this and did that. And when I thought back, I said, you know what, she's right. So now that I'm writing my current book, I'm going to implement that. Everybody, you know, when you read from your or you write from your viewpoint, it's perfect because it's out of your head. But when somebody else read it, they see it different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I know what I'm trying to say, but you're reading what I actually said, which are two different perspectives. So I appreciate all criticism, as long as it's not disrespectful. I only had one very, very bad review on Amazon that I had to actually have Amazon remove because it was blatantly disrespectful. It was, you know how sometimes people can go above and beyond rating a book. You know, they were like attacking me personally, and clearly they didn't read the book because some of the things they were saying, I said, yeah, you couldn't have read the book because you wouldn't have said some of the things you said. I give a disclaimer in the beginning of We Got Issues. I'm not a relationship counselor. I'm not a professional. This is just my viewpoint in some of the interviews that I've done to individuals. So giving a disclaimer in the beginning of the book, if someone then says, well, what makes you think you're a professional and how you know, clearly you didn't read it.
You read the book.
You didn't read the book. You glanced over it or read, you know, a piece of part of it because I clearly said, I'm not a professional. This is the information that I gathered from individuals, and the purpose is to get a common understanding, not for me to tell you what's right or wrong. So you got offended, you know, it's about 100 people that gave their thoughts and views on that book. So you mad at them.
Okay. What is your motivation to write?
You know, it's actually at this point, I think that I really enjoy it now. Like the initial motivation was to tell a story and make it good, but now it's to the point where I look forward to bringing these characters and these situations in my mind to life. It's like exciting for me to, like, you know, and I talk to my wife about it like they real people all the time. I say, hey, look, this person is doing this person is doing that, and she's looking like, what? Like, what is wrong with you? You some kind of crazy. And I say, okay. But it's exciting for me. It's a release. Like when people read a book, it's a release, right? But it's even a bigger release for me to create it. I get to create a whole nother world. Like when you read the book, you escape, but I get to escape by creating it. And I can twist it and turn it however I want to, and implement my own thoughts, views, and feelings, things that I've seen, and I get to hide in between characters. And people, you know, sometimes they pull it out. People who really know me are like, oh, that's something that you would say, you know, or I heard you say that before, or you know, that's your train of thought because they know me personally. But you know, anyone else, they just reading the story, you know. So that's kind of a little motivation there.
Well, what has been the hardest thing about writing a book?
The hardest thing for me in my latest book, Blue Euphoria, was coming up with different terminologies for sex or body parts or sexual situations. Like I started off with maybe 22 different sexual situations. I think I got it down to 17. But how many different ways can you say breast? Now I have to keep you entertained, right?
You're right.
You don't want to hear breast. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I have to. That was a lot of mental work to keep it. How can I say interesting without being repetitive? Because we only got so many parts. Even if I change the scenario, you don't want to hear it the same way. So that was a big challenge, and also dealing with situations like in the book. when two women were kissing. Now I can describe it, but I need you to think. There's no way for me to know how two women think. So that was a challenge for me. How can I express what these two women are feeling, not just doing? Because the real thing of the story is what they're feeling. So of course I had to interview women that have been with women and ask them point blank, what are you thinking? And some of the answers I got was like, wow. Like I couldn't believe some of this, because as men we're only visual, but we don't think it go as deep as it do. And when I got some of the feedback, I learned a lot. And I kind of got a different perspective of different, totally, swingers and all that type of all types of things were different. But it was definitely a challenge trying to write it, especially if some of the things I've never experienced personally or couldn't experience personally. But I have to implement it in the story and make it believable.
Well, yeah.
From a standpoint where people can read it and say, yes, that's how it goes. When as I was told, a lot of females in their younger age you may be attracted to your girlfriend, but you don't understand it. It may come, it may go, it may be younger, you may be 13, 14, you may be 20, you may look at your girlfriend and be talking and be attracted. And it'll be weird, but you don't want to say nothing because you don't want, all that kind of stuff. I had to implement it into the character. So when they did act, I had to speak to that so that when someone who may have experienced that, they could say, yeah, I remember that. I remember having that experience, which makes that character real to them, because now they can relate to it more than just two women kissing.
Okay. Who would you like to collab with if you could?
You know what? I'm a slow writer. I'm very methodical, so I don't know if anybody want to work with me. I really work, I have a saying, I work like Sade and Dr. Dre. I'm not gonna come out often, but when I do, so I don't know. I don't know. I like a lot. Renisha Pittman is a friend of mine. We actually did an anthology together called By Humbug. We had separate stories, but I admire her work definitely. But I don't know if I really want to work with anybody like that, because my style is so different. I'm not going to be on a schedule. I'm not going to be, I write when I feel like it. I may go 2-3 weeks and don't write anything, and then I might have a writing storm. So I don't know if that'll work with anybody else.
What do you have planned for 2020? Do you have any literary events that you're involved in?
Absolutely. I'm meeting with a book club this coming Sunday, for Blue Euphoria. And every expo I can get my hand on. I'm trying to get back to Atlanta. I'm trying to get to the author event in New York, Black Authors. Book fair in New York, Hood Books in Detroit, Cincinnati Music Fest. Might get a table there. I'm moving wherever I can get in. But I will not be releasing a book this year. I will still be promoting and pushing Blue Euphoria. I don't write and promote at the same time. So.
Okay. What has been your best accomplishment thus far in the industry?
I guess just being here. I think the best accomplishment is having repeat customers, people coming back. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's it's not a monetary thing. It's being in a position where people want to read your work. When people get excited. I was at a book expo the beginning of last year, and at the end of last year we had Black Friday in Cleveland, and some of the ladies who seen me in February were there in August, and they said, well, where's your next book? I'm like, lady, oh, we read all of them already. You don't have nothing new? I'm thinking it's only been like 4 months. 5 months. Like, people think you write just for them. You know what I mean? And that's, to me, that's an accomplishment, because people want to read what you write. They're interested in what you do. So to me, that's the biggest accomplishment for people, to really like what I do.
Okay. How can readers get in touch with you?
All media platforms, author Tito and Bradley on Facebook, Twitter. I just got back on Twitter. I don't know how to work it good, but I'm
Oh,
on
really?
there. I can't. I For the life of me, I
I
can't
can't.
figure it out.
I
I
can't.
got off of it, but I got back on. I'm also on Instagram at author Tito and Bradley. So author Tito and Bradley, or Google me, and then all of them will pop up. And
Okay.
I do respond. I do interact with people. A lot of individuals think because you're an author, you have published books that you don't communicate. And when I do, people, I think people gonna actually, yeah. Like if you inbox me or DM me, yeah, I'll converse with you.
Okay.
Notice I didn't say conversate. I'll, I'll converse.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. I'm having I'm calling it an African American male authors in literature, and I'm doing it February the 8th at 12. Would you like to be on the panel?
Absolutely. Let me at 12 noon, correct?
Yeah, we got it at 12 noon. We already have like 6 other males already on already, but I'm trying to get as many as I can. And we just gonna talk and discuss
Oh, sure.
being in the industry, being an African American male.
Absolutely. Put me down.
Okay.
I'm marking on my calendar. Will it be the same format on here
Yes, 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 yes.
or a different format?
It'll be on Zoom. Yes.
Okay,
Okay. Last question. Is there
not a problem.
anything else?
Just send,
Is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
I would like to tell everybody I have something for you. If you like urban fiction,
Mhm.
bait and switch, available on Amazon.com in Kindle and paperback. If you like suspense thrillers, I have reciprocations about a serial killer that cannot be profiled. So if you're into suspense thrillers and that type of thing, that's also available on Amazon.com. Blue Euphoria, my latest book, is available on paperback, Kindle, and audio, and iTunes. I had a young lady named Brittany Howell. She did an audio for Blue Euphoria, phenomenal. She did an excellent job. It was worth every penny. So everything is available on Amazon and iTunes, paperback, Kindle, and also on audio.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming in today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, everyone, you heard it. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.